I'm John Seacott, executive editor of the Brewer Magazine. Welcome to another edition of the Brewer Magazine podcast. We are sponsored by Keg Logistics, and you can find out more details about them at keglogistics.com/brewermag. Well, a really cool opportunity. Whenever I get a chance to go around the country, I love stopping into breweries and be able to learn the stories of why they're there, especially when it's outside of a major metropolitan area. One of those is actually in my home state, my hometown, near my hometown, a small community, about 25,000 people in the entire county. But yet, it kind of echoes back to the thought that talking to a good friend of mine who owns a brewery is like, small breweries are like pizza places. They're always going to be available. You can find them in a small town, even when there isn't a lot of other things around. That's how some breweries can continue to thrive and be a part of their community. And one of these is in Kingsford, Michigan, which is a part of kind of the twin cities of Iron Mountain and Kingsford, two small communities in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, where I am from. Had a great chance to sit down and talk to owner Jeff Bricky, who started this with a pizzeria concept. And this is like 2017, 2018, when you're not exactly thinking of food as being the number one thing. But again, it's a small town. So you kind of need those extra things to have people in. And Jeff explains it correctly about saying, you needed to be able to have people to come do more than just have a few beers, stay around, have some food. Well, if you're a pizzeria and a brewery, you're open for lunch, you're open for dinner, maybe. What about breakfast? They have just started a new concept with a bagelry offering bagels made right there after they were able to move the kitchen out, or rather move the brewery out and add a kitchen in. So this is a great conversation about small town brewing. And we wanted to be able to share this with you here on the Brewer Magazine podcast. This Brewer Mag podcast is sponsored by Keg Logistics. Now's the perfect time to review your keg management strategy. Whether you're seeking a truly flexible keg rental program or intrigued by the seamless distribution freedom of paper fill, Keg Logistics is ready to craft a personalized solution for you, ensuring you receive the kegs you need precisely when you need them. For details, visit keglogistics.com/brewermag. Keg Logistics, modern solutions for keg efficiency. And here on the Brewer Magazine podcast, we are joined with Jeff Bricky, president of 51st State. Thanks for being on the podcast. Tell us just a little bit about this. We're in Kingsford, Michigan. This brewery's been around. You just had your 7th anniversry this year. How have things started for you?
Yeah,
guys?
This is actually our 8th year this year.
8th year.
Yes,
right.
It is.
Why? Why did you want to open a brewery in Kingsford, Michigan?
Oh boy, that's a long story.
We got time.
Yes. We actually, when we decided to open a brewery, we wanted it to be in the UP.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and we were from Marquette, and Marquette was already had some breweries in there, so we didn't want to do it there. So we traveled all around the UP from St. Ignace to Newberry, Munising, quite a few places, and we couldn't find any buildings that suited what we really wanted. We didn't want to be on the highway. We didn't want to be, we wanted to be in a neighborhood.
Sure.
So we didn't really consider the west side of the UP. But then some friends of ours told us, take a look at Kingsford, Iron Mountain area. And we started looking around and we found this place here, right in the middle of a neighborhood, off the beaten path, because we wanted to be more for the community, people walking their dogs, riding their bikes, that sort of thing. So we come across this building here, which used to be an old bar.
Always a good start.
Went through 3 or 4 different names, and so we purchased it, got it really, really cheap, and just gutted the whole thing. That's how we started.
Nice. And so this is around 2017, and when you guys are looking for it and take a look at it. But even then, was the business plan always? You guys have a pizzeria, you have a bagelry. We'll talk about that as well. But was food always an option?
After talking to quite a few people, they gave me the advice: don't open a brewery without having some sort of food. And the more I thought about that is, if you're going to be a brewery and only serve beer, you got to keep people here. You're going to have entertainment. You're going to have maybe play games and other things, but you have to have a way to keep people there. Because my philosophy is people will come in for a couple beers, they'll go out to eat. Or they'll go out to eat and come in for a couple beers, you know. I wanted to keep people here longer. So we decided on pizza. And this whole area has a lot of Italian heritage. And we really looked into what kind of pizza we were going to make. And we decided to do my twist on a Neapolitan pizza. And that kind of started all that.
Sure. And like when you do that, you're doing market research basically. You're trying to find a niche that isn't. Is there wood-fired Neapolitan type pizza in the area that you didn't feel like you were so close that you were competing directly with them, or did you see there's nothing like this? We can be this right here.
Yeah, there's a few places that have like a brick oven, but we were more of a Neapolitan style with the dough we make. It has thin crust, has a nice edge all the way around it, and we wanted something that could bake in about 140 seconds to 150 seconds versus other pizzerias where they take 6 to 7 minutes to bake the pizza. A lot of times when we're slow, if we can jump right on the pizza, we'll make it, put it in the oven, and have it out at the table before the waitresses have the beer out there. We try to do it that quick. It's for fun, but you know, we wanted something we could make very, very quick that tasted real good with quality ingredients. And if we did that, people will keep coming back.
Yeah, yeah. Obviously, and I've talked about this before, I'm a born and bred Youper, so I know the area. I don't think a lot of people in the country understand, you know, they sometimes look at the two and they're like, that's Wisconsin. But we know it's not. We know we're part of Michigan. Yes. But you guys are located on the Wisconsin-Michigan border in the southern half of the UP. And it's a small town. Kingsford's 5,000-ish, Iron Mountain's 7,000, Twin Cities. They probably make up half of the entire Dickinson County, which is only like 25,000 people. So you have a very limited amount of people that you can cater to. So does that dictate like, okay, I know how much beer I need to make, because you don't want to come out with a 10-barrel system and be firing, you know, all things. How did you develop the beer side of things and how much you want to make? And was it shoestring budget type of thing? I mean, I know a lot of when people start, they always think we got to start small, and then you're like, oh crap, we need more. Did you do it right? And do you feel you're in the right spot?
No, I'm probably with just about, I don't know, everybody else. You always start out with a system not big enough. All right. And I knew that, but I didn't listen to that. I started out with a smaller system. In fact, the brewing system was in this building where we have the pizzeria and bagelry right now. It was a 4-barrel brew in a basket system. And I had 10 fermenters or 10 bright tanks in the basement, a walk-in cooler. And I had 7 fermenters all in that back room back here. And it was very, very tight, very tight. When I got my malt in, I had to buy 5-6 bags at a time. I had no place to put it. So I learned really quick on that one, you know. And then at that same time, our pizza oven was too small. It only held like 4 pizzas, okay? And when you're making 120, 130 pizzas on a Friday or Saturday night, you can't keep up. And the quality of the pizza goes down because the baking stone is getting warm and it caused a lot of problems. So from there, we got a bigger pizza oven. We can do like 8 pizzas at a time, and we can run 300 pizzas an hour through there, and quality won't suffer. As far as my brewing system, I ended up buying a building in the same town about 3.5 blocks from here. And right now it's called our production and baking facility. So what I did, I got a bigger brewing system, and it's a 5-barrel system. So it's not that much bigger, but it's totally automated. So I'm getting up in my age, so I don't want to get up and down and hook up hoses and all that. So I got a nice ABE system and some bigger fermenters and that. And that's what I have at the other building now, and that's what we're using now.
I know from the time that I've started coming here, since my wife is from the area, so we're here almost every summer and getting a chance to try the beer. I do see a lot of cores, but you guys get to throw some variety in there as well. You must really like your core, because it seems like you guys have some standards that have been around since the beginning.
Yes.
You know, was that an intentional, I like these and people are taking to it, or is it just you feel like you hit the right ones at the right time?
Well, we had 10 taps, and I wanted to have 5 of them that people loved and would expect here all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I wanted 5 other taps for fun stuff. Okay. And that was right from the beginning. It's still today. That's how it's designed. All right. Probably one of our biggest successes is our blueberry beer, called a Batty Millie.
Yep.
And originally I brewed that. I wanted to get some more women to come in. I wanted to draw more women in the brewery. And I thought, let me get a beer that they would like. And we served wine in that also, but I wanted something that they would like, a beer. That ended up, boy, that's been selling so much since I've opened that it's our number 1 beer. It's 70% of my production.
Oh, wow.
And on Untapped, it's been rated number 1 in Michigan for the last 2-3 years, you know.
Yeah.
And I distribute a little bit, so that's the only one I distribute also. But that's one beer that's really taken off.
Wow. Yeah, distribution. Did you ever think of leaving the tap? Like, what was the kind of the plan at the beginning? Like, open this tap room, have some food. Now you get some kegs out there.
Mm-hmm.
Was that out? Is it kind of like what you were looking at the beginning?
It wasn't in my original business plan, but I just wanted to do it. You know, I had a lot of requests from a lot of bars, restaurants that wanted to put that beer on tap. Now, I'm a one-man show. So, I run the business with my wife, Victoria, doing all the payroll and all the ordering and, all the brewing and all the cleaning. And, I only wanted a select few customers. So I have 3 or 4 customers that I deliver beer to on a regular basis. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Eventually I'll hire a brewer and then we'll expand that quite a bit. We bought a canning line that I'm rebuilding. We're going to do that in the near future too, after I hire a brewer.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, right behind us is where used to be the brewery.
Used to be the brewery, yes.
And then when you leave the space to start, working there, you have an empty space. You decide, well, what else can we do with it? How did this develop into a bagelery in the morning?
Well, we took a look at our business, and typically, except for Saturdays, we open at 4. We close at 8 or 9, depending on the season. Saturdays, we open at noon. So I got to looking at this. The building's dark for 12 plus hours a day.
Yeah.
And we got that back room with nothing in it now. And at the new facility, we were making our own dough for our pizzas. So I had equipment, had some equipment, and then we just had thought about making bagels. Why don't we open in the morning where typically the building's dark, and let's make revenue in the same building. And so we worked with a consultant, nailed down the recipe, the sourdough bagel recipe, and we started back in this room here. And right now we're open every morning. We're closed 2 days a week, and probably half the time we sell out of bagels now.
Yeah. Do you see a different clientele? Is it your beer people coming in to grab a bagel, or are you seeing a lot of different people like, this is awesome, I can go to a brewery and not have to work, I'm not getting a beer, I'm getting breakfast?
No, it's of course you're going to have overlap, but I get a lot of different people in here.
Which increases revenue, increases the opportunity to be seen.
And we don't do any advertising. We do a little bit on Facebook, and that's about it. My wife does a lot of the posts on Facebook, and that's all we've done. We haven't advertised. So as people are finding out about us, we're getting busier and busier and busier, which is a nice thing. But if you start out slow, it's good for your crew also, especially when we first opened. You didn't want to flood it with all this advertising and just be overwhelmed with new people.
Yeah.
So just like when we started the brewery, just one day we put an open sign out. Didn't tell anybody. And people started coming in, and gradually business built up. The people could handle it. We could, anything they were doing wrong, we could correct it. And then once it gets busy, everybody's trained. So that's how we did it.
Sure.
You know.
And obviously the response, like you said, is building. Which is good. You didn't want to be over. I'm sure maybe even when you opened the brewery, you were probably overwhelmed, and you learn from that. You're like,
yes, you do.
Slower is sometimes better. Having a grand splash is great, but then that can end up hurting you in the end because people might, long lines or
Yes.
whatever it is. Like you said, the quality might have suffered because you guys were having to make so many pizzas.
Mhm.
So kind of learn a little bit. Yeah.
Absolutely, and that worked out well for us. So,
Yeah.
and even at being slow, when you open a business like this, and I don't know how true it is. I hear a lot of people, hey, by year 2 we'll be making money, or year 3 we're making money. If you're not making money in the first month, you better make some changes.
Yeah.
Because that's the way it's been here from day one. I didn't. The plan was to make money day one.
Sure.
And not say we got to pay for this equipment, we'll absorb these costs and all that. No, you got to make money right away.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's why we've been so successful. Even with the pizza, since we opened, we've won the community award for best pizza every year since we've been open.
That's awesome.
Which I'm humbled by it because there's so many other good pizzerias around here, and a lot of like I said, Italian heritage, and a lot of people that have been going to the other pizzerias all their life when they were kids too. Mm-hmm. And to have them awards, it's real humbling.
That's neat.
Yeah.
Involving yourself with the community. Like you said, you guys aren't actually from here. You found an area to open.
Yes.
How have you tried to work ingraining yourself into the community and just become a local? Because, small town, people know each other. When you kind of open a business, you're the new guy. How has this past 7-8 years been for you guys in ingraining yourself there?
This Brewer Mag podcast is sponsored by Keg Logistics. Now's the perfect time to review your keg management strategy. Whether you're seeking a truly flexible keg rental program or intrigued by the seamless distribution freedom of paper fill, Keg Logistics is ready to craft a personalized solution for you, ensuring you receive the kegs you need precisely when you need them. For details, visit keglogistics.com/brewermag. Keg Logistics, modern solutions for keg efficiency.
Well, like other places, we get a lot of letters for donations and getting involved with this and that. And typically, I don't answer any of them. Okay. I want people to come in here and talk to me face to face.
Sure.
So, DTN, Dickinson Trail Network, we're starting to work with them because now I know them, they come in here.
Yeah.
So we're starting to make donations to them. 4-H. I got a weakness in my heart for 4-H. So if 4-H comes in here, everybody's going to know about it, but I'll donate. Things like the Veterans Tribute Ride and for the, the scuba divers for the county. So there's a lot of things we play around in.
That's awesome. That's some of the toughest things is to understand that you're a business, you're a for-profit business, and sometimes people see beer as this like opportunity, like, oh, you're going to get exposure for this. It's the same as any artist, just come and do this, and you'll get seen. We're here to get paid.
Yes, absolutely.
So you kind of mentioned some of the partnerships that you guys have going on, but what else is on the horizon? You talked a little bit about canning. Let's just talk about the canning market itself. Was it easy to find equipment nowadays?
Keweenaw Brewing had a canning line that they've been using for years.
Okay.
And they actually gave me the canning line. They wanted to give it to a small brewery, and it's about 20 years old.
Yeah.
And I said, I'll take it, So right now I have it, and I'm rebuilding it to its former glory. So I'm working with the company that actually made the machines. I'm replacing all the bimbas, the electrical switches, and all the different things. And we're going to take that canning line, and we're just going to can small amounts for the local grocery stores, a little bit in Aurora, Wisconsin, just doing it locally. And then we'll just let that lie and do it locally for 2 or 3 years, just see what it is.
Yeah.
Just play around with it, see how sales are.
Sure. And you mentioned that because we kind of talked about you guys, right? I mean, literally on the line. Like you can see across the Menominee River, Niagara and Aurora and
Yes.
Florence, and that is a completely different trail of paperwork to have to do. Like, you know,
Actually, it was easy.
It is okay.
In
That's what,
order to get
sometimes
licensed in the state of Wisconsin is
wait,
really
Wisconsin's easy to get beer into?
easy. Easy. It's Michigan. You have to jump through hoops.
Yeah.
Michigan, it's a long, drawn-out process to eventually get your brewer's license or winery license and so forth. So,
Yeah.
but Wisconsin was easy.
That's great.
If I remember right, it's one piece of paper.
That's not, I know, like we have, you know, I'm in the Toledo area and we have a couple breweries that are just into Michigan.
Yeah.
And going from Michigan to Ohio, like you know, they have to have a distributor. So it's like, okay, well, do you want to actually put forth the time and effort and money when you're not even distributing in your own state, but now all of a sudden
Right.
you have to have a distributor just to go 15 minutes away. So glad that that's an easy part for you.
That was
guys.
easy, yes.
Anything else? Have you, you know, you kind of said you like having your cores, but you know, how's that lineup change in the 5 taps that you're always? Is it seasonal? Is it new things popping off your head?
Yeah, there's seasonal things I do all the time, and there's also new things. I struggled a little bit when I got the 5-barrel system because I can't do as small a batches,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And so I just partnered with ABE, and I have it's a brew in a basket system, but it's 2.5 to 3-barrel system. So I can do 2 barrels to 3 barrels. So I just got that in order to make smaller batches. All right.
Yeah.
If I do a 5-barrel batch of, I don't know, black IPA, it's going to be on for a year, you know, because not a lot of people will be drawn to a black IPA, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
So them will all be 2-barrel batches, which I'll go through no problem here.
Mm-hmm.
And by doing that, I can start getting a lot of these different types of beers on there I have fun with,
Sure.
whether it be a salted caramel porter or a, you know, it could be an IPA or anything like that. I can start playing with different things, the smaller batches. So I ended up getting too big a system for the amount of business I have in this brewery.
Mm-hmm.
And now with the new system, I can do small batches so I can keep it fresher.
Sure.
How's
the trends, you know, just in overall craft beer, are you paying attention to versus what you need to have in the tap room because you know it's going to sell? I mean, obviously there's been a lot of changes over the last 5 or 6 years, especially in the hop side of things. Cold IPAs and New England IPAs have become such a you know, different thing. Lagers, I mean, that you need more space to be able to, and more time for lagering.
Yeah.
How have you adjusted your strategy on that end? Because there are always kind of new stuff, but you have a community that is still might just be walking in for the first time and trying your first beer.
I've got a lot of fermenters. So, and I do a lot of lagers, you know. And one of our beers we put on tap, you know, is our 3 Vagabonds. It's just a light American lager. And that lager's for 8 weeks at 32 degrees. So I'm able to do that. I have enough fermenters. And I've got more fermenters than what I need. So I can make lager and let them sit there for a year. You know,
nice.
I got my Oktoberfest that I do in July, you know, and that's just, you know, it'll take about 3 weeks. I'll drop it down slowly to 32 degrees and it will sit there until I need it. So it doesn't really affect me at all.
Sure.
It really doesn't. I've got a lot of fermentation and I just play with some styles and if one sells, I'll put it on my list for next year. You know, if it doesn't sell, it won't show up again. But usually they all sell.
Sure. Obviously, I mean, the size that you are, whether it's, you know, how much you're putting out in a year, or even the, you know, the 5-barrel system, it's kind of come back to that because going into a small market, kind of being in a one horse town, you know, being the only no competition, you see this more and more and more now, where it's not just, you know, we're going to go open up in a major metropolitan city because that's where the people are. Now you're going to, well, that's where no one else is right now. Hit them where they ain't. You know, that seemed to be your philosophy starting. Do you think that is, you know, for other people that might be watching this or brewing, planning, do you feel it's a smart idea to find those holes that are still out there?
Well, obviously, if you can go somewhere where there's no other breweries, that's a good thing. You got to take a look at population. You got to take a look at a lot of them things and exposure and that. God, it depends how big you want to be.
Sure.
I didn't want to be that big. We do under 300 barrels a year.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not much. And you got other people going, well, I got to hit that. I want to do 1,000. I went, oh, we do fine with under 300 barrels a year.
Yeah.
Half my business is food.
Yep.
So I'm good with that. We're a brewery. We serve food. We don't have very many tables in here. I can hold 51 people full in here. And in the summertime, I can hold another 50 people outside. That's it. We got 9 tables in here. That's all we have. So a brewery they want to keep you here drinking beer. We want to turn tables because we also serve food. So you got to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
We're not a place where you're going to sit down and play dominoes or play any games and stuff. We have no room for entertainment. So it's a small building. So you got to really take a look at what you want to be, and let that decide where you want to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
In my opinion.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we talked some business. Let's have a little bit of fun, some beer, get to know you a little bit.
Yeah.
If you could collab with any brewery in the world, in the country, who is it, and what do you want to make with them?
Oh my God, Cognition, out of Marquette, Michigan.
Yeah.
Marquette, Michigan. I'll tell you what, they brew some great beer there. And we did a collaboration early, and that would be my number one place I would go.
Yeah.
Hands down.
And they're very, I guess, Belgian Nordic styles. So what would you guys make if they haven't made something there?
Oh,
you want to make something with
I would have to give that a lot of thought.
Chris is still there, right? Chris Thompson.
Yeah, Chris and I, we know each other. We did the collaboration together. We were on the market. We belonged to Marquette Homebrewers when it was a big thing 8 years ago. And yeah, I don't know what I would brew. Man, I'd have to talk to Chris about that. We could dream up something.
I'm sure you guys could.
He's into that unwritten rule. We'll figure out something. What do you got?
Yeah.
What do you got growing in the area? We can
Yeah.
pick this and pick that. That's the type of stuff they do. So that's what I would do.
Awesome. Was there a job you had applied for in your life that you didn't get, and you're still kind of like, I missed that. I wish I would have gotten that, heartbroken to this day of something.
Never. I've been so lucky throughout my life, and maybe because I work hard. I mean, I started out as a bricklayer, laid brick for about 12 years. All right. And it wasn't outside brick. It was inside foundries and refineries and chemical plants and stuff. Their vessels are all lined with refractory and brick, like Grady Foundry or Wapaka Foundry, something like that. And that's what I did for a lot of years. And then after that, I just got hired by Wapaka Foundry. And then I was with them almost 24 years. Okay. Worked up from running a melting department to plant manager. And I just worked hard and never went to college. I got a high school diploma and I got to be like a plant manager. So I guess I've been kind of lucky all my life.
Awesome.
I was always in the right place at the right time. Maybe from working hard, never saying no, never calling in sick, always be the first one to volunteer for overtime. Every job I've ever had, I do the same thing all over again.
Awesome. Well, this is the owner and the brewer side question.
Yeah.
Would you rather run out of CO2 mid-service during a busy day, or break your glycol line mid-fermentation?
Oh, break a glycol line. I've got so many fermenters and so many beers ready to go. I would just toss the beer.
Yeah.
And CO2, man, that's business. That's income coming in. I want that to keep coming in. I would lose a lot less money by just dumping a beer, which I've only done once in my life.
Awesome. Always a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I sucked up sanitizer in there as it cooled down and hurt the beer. But other than that, it's the only thing. Yeah.
Awesome. My computer turns off just as we get to that last question. Wow, that was amazing. So
Okay.
appreciate it. It
All
must
right.
be done. So
Must be done.
well, excellent. It was great talking to you and getting to know a little bit
The
about
pleasure
the
was
brewery.
mine,
And
yeah.
There's so many breweries like you across the country. I'm sure they're going to get something out of this.
Well, if they get a little something, then it was a success, wasn't it? You know.
All right.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Well, thank you. Pleasure.
This Brewer Mag podcast is sponsored by Keg Logistics. Now's the perfect time to review your keg management strategy. Whether you're seeking a truly flexible keg rental program or intrigued by the seamless distribution freedom of paper fill, Keg Logistics is ready to craft a personalized solution for you, ensuring you receive the kegs you need precisely when you need them. For details, visit keglogistics.com/brewermag. Keg Logistics, modern solutions for keg efficiency.